So, you know, you definitely talked a lot about just now, like you focus in on the competition, kind of like settle your nerves, like day of, right before. What can you tell us about like, you know, I know when I was younger, like the plane would be late or like I don't know, like the strips are slippery, like these things that really take away from your focus at a competition. You know, like your bag doesn't come, or like the referee that like, you know, gives you a difficult time is your referee for the pool. What do you kind of tell yourself in order to like combat against those kind of distractions?
Yeah, I think the main thing that I think of when all that is happening is I think back to all the times when I was a kid or throughout the years that my dad basically just said, no excuses, you go out there and you compete. If the referee is calling it wrong or calling it not the way you like it, make it one light. Like what else are you gonna do? You can only control what you control.
Yeah.
You can't control the referee, you can't control the opponent, you can only control yourself. And so when you let outside factors control you, then you've lost control of everything, right? Because ultimately you can only control yourself. So that is something my dad emphasized from a really, really young age is that, yeah, let the coaches argue with the referees, right? The fencers should not be doing that because they need to focus on how they can be successful in that bout, regardless of whether or not the referee is going to make the same mistakes moving forward. And all like same goes to same goes with like, you know, not having all your equipment because your bag arrived late and strips not being up to what you expect. You have to be ready for adversity because you're always going to hit adversity at some point in your career. You're never going to be able to compete under perfect circumstances. I wouldn't even say the Olympic Games is a perfect circumstance either, right? And one thing that my parents also always said is never have superstitions. Like never have your favorite foil or whatever. You can have ones that feel good, but you have to be able to finish, you know, like change within a second's notice. If that tip isn't working, even though it's your favorite, switch it. Doesn't matter. Um, don't have like a favorite, like obviously you could have like favorite meals that you want, but don't feel like you have to have a singular meal before every competition, because what if you're in a place that doesn't offer that, right? Like what if you want a big steak, but you're in some place that like even Greece doesn't really do steaks, right? Like if I'm competing in Greece, like I definitely wouldn't order steak the night before, right? And so like obviously everyone has their own superstitions and they have their own process, right? But for me, something that's been really important is that, you know, the reasons my parents didn't want me to have superstitions was the idea of, you know, not being in control of yourself, because they viewed it, and I still also very much view it as, you know, if you have superstitions and you're not able to fill those superstitions or abide by them, then you almost have resigned yourself to, you know, failure in a certain way. So it's really about just being in control of what you can control and focusing on only that. And if things go awry, then you deal with it. But you know, and you have to adapt, just very much like in a fencing match, you have to adapt to, you know, what your opponent's doing as well, because if they want to win the match, they're going to change to whatever you're doing that's being successful as well.